Okay, students. So this is the class from which we are going to start the network theorems. So what are the network theorem and one means what are those theorems and what is the need of this theorem? Because you can tell that sir already we have learned some theorems or some laws of electrical engineering. So these theorems are also used to determine the currents and the voltages in the various part of a complicated circuit or a simple circuit. So for that you can tell me that sir it is enough to determine the current and voltage by using the mesh analysis, the nodal analysis, the Kirchhoff's law. All these things are enough for determining the current, but there are such cases where the circuit is more complicated, and if you apply the only simple classical or analytical method like the superposition, like the mesh analysis, the nodal analysis, or the Kirchhoff's current law, that will be not beneficial because as the circuit is more complicated, more complex, that's why there are so many variables, and if there are more than 3 unknown variables, then it is difficult to find the value of the variables by the analytical method. So here there are some electrical laws, DC circuit law, which is that is nothing but the network theorem, which can applicable in both the AC circuit as well as DC circuit also. But as it is a BEEE, that is the E101, the basic electrical engineering, so it is only DC part is available. And if you are somebody of you are being a part of electrical engineering or the electronics engineering, and so in the 3rd semester they have a subject called the circuit theory. Here there you can find the network theorems. There is the application to AC networks. Okay, so we can write DC network theorem. Okay, so what are the theorems? There are so many theorems, but in your syllabus there are only 4 exists. Okay, only 4 theorems are exist. First one is the superposition theorem. Second one is the Thevenin's theorem. Thevenin's, Thevenin's. Third one is the Norton's theorem. And fourth one is the maximum power transfer theorem. These 4 are present in your syllabus, but there are also some additional theorems by which we can determine the currents and voltage of a various part of a circuit. That is the one is in the extra toppings you can tell, that is the Millman's theorem. Millman's theorem. If anybody belongs from the electrical engineering, they must know all the theorems. Tellion's theorem. Or substitution theorem, and also composition theorem. They all are nothing but the classical method to determine the voltage and current in the various parts of a complicated circuit. Their motto is same, to determine the current and voltage, but their way is different. That's why they are named as like superposition, Thevenin's, Norton's, all these things. So to complete, to cover your syllabus, you have to know the series parallel technique, then must know the KVL, must know the KCL, must know the current division rule and voltage division rule. Okay. So for if I am going to start the superposition theorem, then the current division rule is very much, and also KVL is very much important for it. Okay. Another thing you have to know that a voltage source, if a voltage source is there present in a circuit, if a voltage source is present in a circuit, and if you replace the voltage source, means if the voltage source can be replaced, how can you replace the voltage source? The voltage source can be replaced by a short circuit, by a short circuit. That is the, if this is A, this is B, then if you omit the voltage source, then you just omit the voltage source, making the AB short. According that, if you have a current source like this, if you have a current source like this, all are the nothing but the independent source. If you have a current source like this, then, and it is A and B, then you must replace this current source by, or omit this current source by making the terminal open. Okay. Because so the main thing is the sources are replaced according to their internal resistance. That is, whatever the source is, depending upon the internal resistance, the source can be replaced. That is the, so you, as the voltage source is replaced by a short circuit, it means that the resistance of a voltage source is nothing but the 0. Okay. Okay. So so, and as you see that the current source is replaced by a open circuit, means that the resistance of the current source is nothing but the infinite. Okay. That's why no current is flow through it and it will be open circuited. Okay. Now come to the, let's start to the superposition theorem. Okay. So it is the so if there is some mistakes, so what does the superposition theorem tells? So it tells that in a linear active bilateral network containing more than one independent source, it is also applicable for the dependent source, but dependent source is not in your syllabus. That's why I am just following the syllabus for ESE 101. So if anybody can attend the class about these theorems in the AC network, so they can comment me and I will give it to the video. Okay. In a linear active bilateral network containing more than one independent source, the resultant current any element is the algebraic sum of the current that would be produced by each independent sources acting alone, all other independent sources being represented by their respective internal resistances. So it means that if this is a mass, heavy mass, if you see that this is a heavy mass, okay, and you have to displace the mass from here to here. Here, displace the mass. So first somebody came and apply a force F1, say, but it is not displaced, it is a heavy mass. Okay. Now second man come and apply more than the F1, that is the F2 force. F2 is greater than F1, and after that the mass is not displaced. Then third person come over here and apply the F3 more force, then it displaces from here to here. So the total force is F is equal to F1 plus F2 plus F3. Means somebody means person one's force plus person second person force plus third person force make the body displaced. This is the by the mechanical point of view. Now if you consider a electrical network, the electrical network is like this. So this is a electrical network having a resistance R1, R2, R3, R4. This is the current source I, this is the voltage source V. Then, so this I have already told that these theorems are used to determine the current or voltage in a specific element. So if I am supposed to ask that what is the current flowing through this R4, then you should apply the KVL, you should apply the KCL, you should apply the mesh analysis, should apply the nodal analysis, or you can apply the 8th theorem I have already written in the previous page. But here we are going to discuss about the superposition theorem. So how by using of superposition theorem we can determine the current, what amount of current is flowing through the R4. So first you tell that take that I4, this is the I4 current is flowing through this R4. Okay. So if I4 is I4 current is flowing through this R4, that is this I4 current is due to the some supply from V and supply from I, means some current is supplied by I and some current is supplied by the V, then we got the I4. So if this is I dash, if this is I1, and if this is I2, I1 is supplied by the voltage source and I2 is supplied by the voltage current source, then I4 is nothing but the I1 plus I2. Okay. Now it means that some part this I4 have the current, some part that is supplied by the voltage, and it has some part which is supplied by this current, and at the summation of these two current gives you the total current I4 which is flowing through the R4. So what should we do, or what is the steps? So now we have to know that each independent source acting alone, means that is the current, the algebraic sum, the resultant current in any element, means the element is R4, is the algebraic sum, that is the algebraic sum of the current that would be produced by each independent source acting alone. That is the, when this is an independent source and this is also another independent source. So for I1 is due to the independent source, that is by for supply from supply V, and I2 is the from supply I. So summation of the algebraic sum of these two gives you the total current which is flowing through the any element, that is here it is R4. So what should we do? So here first is when voltage source is acting alone Then what should we do? So we have to replace the current source. How we replace the current source? We have to replace the current source by make it open. Okay, so the diagram should be like this. Take or make the resistances intact. This is your voltage source, this is your resistance, this is another resistance, and make this open because the current source is open circuited. So this one is nothing but the R1, R2, R3, R4 and V. So due to this V, say that I1 is flowing. Now you can take that when, now by series parallel technique or the KCL, KVL, whatever you can, it is preferred by you, you can apply it. Then the ultimate motto is you have to find out the I1 due to the V. Now when second step is, this is step 1, this is step 2. Step 2 is when current source is acting alone. Then what is the diagram? So keep the resistances intact, don't change the resistance and its value. Keep the current source intact, but make the voltage source short circuited, as the voltage source can be replaced by its internal resistance, and the internal resistance of the voltage source is 0, so we make it short. So for this I, this is R1, this is R2, this is R3 and this is R4. For this I, the current source, the current which is flowing through it, you can say I2. So for first case, due to V, I1 current is flowing through R4. For second case, due to I2 current is flowing through the R4. So the total current is, is equal to the algebraic sum of the current that would produced by each independent source, that is the I1 plus I2. Okay, another thing you have to consider, that if the direction of the current source is like this, then due to this current source, the current which is flowing through R4 is in this direction. So in this case, when whatever the I1, you have to give the value. If it is 5 ampere, if it is 5 ampere, then I1 should be 5 ampere, and you have to give the symbol, that is the from upper to lower. If I2 is 3 ampere and the direction of the current source is this, then the direction of I2 is upper, from lower to upper. So here one direct current is means in the same resistance, that is the R4 resistance, one I1 is flowing from upper to lower and I2 is flowing from lower to upper, so they are opposite polarity. So you can say that I is equal to I1 minus I2, that is you have to consider the polarity of the circuit. Now with a small example, we can make this superposition theorem more comfortable. Okay, now just draw one circuit. So this is a circuit. Here it is the 5 ohm, this is the 20 volt, this is the 10 ohm, this is the 2 ohm, this is the 10 volt, and this is nothing but the 40 volt. Okay, so find what is the current flowing through 2 ohm resistor. So just make these 2 ohm with another color to make it convenient. So if this is, we can draw it by red. Okay, so find, what is the question? Find the current through 2 ohm. You can apply KCL, you can apply KVL, you can apply Thevenin's, you can apply Norton's, maximum power transfer, superposition, Millman's, reciprocity, whatever it is, whatever you want, you can apply. But here we are going to today we are going to discuss the superposition theorem. So in a complicated circuit, how can we apply the superposition theorem, that can be discussed. Okay, so here how many sources are there? So 40 volt, 20 volt and 10 volt, 3 sources are there. So first step 1. So individual, you have to activate the individual source. So here we can apply the 40 volt is acting alone. So you can say that when 40 volt is acting alone. Okay. So when 40 volt is acting alone, what is the circuit diagram? That is, so what is the steps? So first of all, due to this 40 volt, when 40 volt is acting along, then in the 2 ohm resistance, how much the current is flowing through it? The next step is, when 20 volt is acting alone, then how much current is supplied by this 20 volt into the 2 ohm resistor is the second step. Third step is, when 10 volt is acting alone, then how much current is supplied by it to the 2 ohm resistance, it is the third step. So by combination of that two current, you can get the total current which is flowing through the 2 ohm resistor. So first is 40 volt is acting alone. So as these two are the voltage source, so if we replace this voltage source, then we should make it short. So keeping the other resistances intact, make this voltage source short. Here it is another resistance, and here it is a 40 volt voltage source. Okay, this is the circuit diagram. It is the 5, it is the 2, and it is the 10 ohm. So let I current is supplied by this battery. This is the 40 volt. I is supplied by this battery, and in the 2 ohm resistance, I1 is flowing through it. So I1 is flowing through this 2 ohm resistance for the 20 volt battery. So what should we do? We can apply the, here in the superposition theorem, we can apply the current division rule. What is current division rule? Where it is we can apply? When the two resistances are kept in a parallel, then we can apply the current division rule. I am briefly discuss about the current division rule. Here this is R1, you can take it R1, it is R2. Okay, so here it is a battery is connected. You can take the battery is V volt battery. So for due to this V, I is flowing through it. Okay, and here there are two junction. For here I1 is flowing through R1 and I2 is flowing through the R2. So what is the value of the I1 and I2? We can determine it by the current division rule. So R1 and R2 are the parallel. So what is the equivalent? R equivalent is equal to the nothing but the R1 R2 by R1 plus R2. I think that you already know it. What is the equivalent resistance of R1 and R2 when they are in parallel? So what is the V? V is nothing but the I into the R equivalent. V is equal to IR. Whatever the I is flowing or supplied by the V, that can be multiplied with the equivalent resistance, that is R1 R2 by R1 plus R2. That will give you the total V. Okay, this is the V. Okay, now what is the value of I1? What is the value of I1? I1 is what? I1 is V into R1, sorry, V by R1. V by R1 is the I1, that is the total V by this R1 is the I1. So what is the V? V is nothing but the I into R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2 into this R1. This R1 get cancelled, so I1 become I into R2 by R1 plus R2. That is the, if you want to calculate the I1, then through the R1, I1 is flowing through the R1. If we calculate the I1 through the R1, then find out the total current supplied by the battery into the another resistance where no current is flowing, means the you are not considering the resistor. That resistor you have to consider as a numerator, and in the denominator the summation of these two resistances. According to this I2, it become I2 is become I into R1 by R1 plus R2. Okay, this is the basic current division rule. I think you have already know this current division rule. So here first step one is the current, the 40 volt is acting alone, then we have to find out the I. So what is the I? So if you calculate the total resistance over here, then that this voltage into the total equivalent resistance, voltage by this total equivalent resistance gives you the I. So I become, so I become 40 divided by 5 plus 2 parallel 10. These 2 and 10 are in parallel. What is the value of 2 parallel 10? The 2 parallel 10 gives you the 1.67. So it is become 40 divided by 5 plus 1.67. It is nothing but the 6 ampere. So if in this circuit, if 40 volt current for 40 volt is connected, then the current flowing through this circuit is 6 ampere. But what is the current flowing through this I1 in through 2 ampere, 2 ohm? Here you see that these two are the identical. Only one resistance is there, so you cannot consider this resistance because you have already find the value of I. So if I into 10 by 10 plus 2, it is nothing but the I1. So if we apply current division rule, it is figure 1. Apply CDR, current division rule, in figure 1. What you get? That is the I1 is nothing but the total current I into, that is the, here you have to find the current through 2 ohm. So take 10 ohm as numerator, and denominator it is 2 plus 10, that is the I is the 6 into 10 divided by 12 is another 5 ampere, and the direction of current is in this direction, Okay. Now you have to find out the second step. What is the second step? Second step is when 20 volt is acting alone, means make the 40 volt and 10 volt omit. So what is the diagram for it? The diagram is become is the 20 volt, here 2 ohm, here this 10 volt is short circuited, here the 40 volt is short circuited, here it is the 20 volt, 5 ohm, this is 10 ohm, and this is 2 ohm, and you see that I is flowing in this direction, I is flowing in this direction, and if I2 is flowing through 2 ohm resistance, and the direction of the I2 is in this direction. So what is the I? Again you have to find out the current supply by this voltage source, that is the here. Now the circuit becomes the 20 volt, here it was the 40 volt, now it is 20 volt, and the other adjustment are the same. So it becomes I becomes the 20, the total voltage, divided by 5 plus again 2 parallel 10, 2 parallel 10, 2 is parallel with 10, so it becomes 20 divided by 5 plus 1.67, it is nothing but the 3 ampere current is flowing supply by this 20 volt battery. Now find out I2. I2 is what? Again you have get I, and 2 and 10 are in parallel, so you can easily use the current division rule. Here the 2 ohm and 10 ohm is parallel, and I is 3 ampere. So I into 10 divided by 10 plus 2, that is the 3 into 10 divided by 12, 2.5 ampere, but the direction of current is in this direction. Okay, so here is the I1, here is the I2, so make it, so you have to make underline. Okay, now third point is, now 10 volt is acting alone, 10 volt is acting alone. Draw the circuit. When 10 volt is acting alone, then make all the resistances same, short the 20 volt, and only 10 volt is acting alone. In this circuit, it is 2 ohm, it is 5 ohm, it is 10 ohm, and it is 10 volt. So here the I is flowing through it, and you can say that I3 is flowing through 2 ohm due to the 10 volt. So due to the 10 volt, the total current is I, and the current which is flowing through 2 ohm is the 10 volt. Here you see that 2 ohm is not parallel with the 5 and 10. Okay, so what is the equivalent circuit? We can make it a equivalent circuit as, so here you see that this 10 and 5 are in parallel, so you can make the 10 and 5. So what is the equivalent resistance? So make the circuit is like this. You can draw the circuit like this. This is the 2 ohm, this is the 5 parallel 10, and this is 10 volt. So the value of the 5 parallel 10 is, when 5 parallel 10, it becomes 3.33 ohm. So the total resistance is, total R total over here is equal to 2 plus 3.33 is equal to 5.33. Now what is the current? The I3 is equal to I is equal to 10 divided by 5.33. It comes 1.88 ampere, and the direction of the current is in this direction. In this direction, the current is flowing in this direction. So the direction of the current is like this. So the total, what is the total current? The total current becomes I, that is I is flowing through the 2 ohm resistor. So I become I1 plus I2 plus I3. So I1 is in this direction, I3 is in this direction, but I2 is opposite direction. So it is 5 ampere plus of minus 2.5 ampere plus of 1.88 ampere, it becomes 4.33 38 ampere, and the direction is in this direction. So this is all about the superposition theorem. In the next class we are going to solve 4 or 5 numericals containing the voltage source, only the current source, as well as the voltage and current source, and the more complicated circuit. I hope you understand this. Just keep watching this video, and in the next day we will find some video on the numericals. Bye bye.